Welcome back to the Travsessed podcast. We're your hosts, Kim and Aaron. We're healthcare travelers and the creators of Travsessed, and it is Tuesday, so it's another Quick Tip Tuesday, Traveler Quick Tip Tuesday. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to leverage travel healthcare to create the life of your dreams. And we were just having a conversation about it not that long ago and wanted to share it on this podcast. So here we go.
Before we get into the episode, we are teaching a free masterclass, a travel masterclass, and we've taught so many different masterclasses. We call them masterclasses, we've called them trainings, we've called them all different kinds of things, workshops. We've been teaching in that style, in that format for 6 years now, which is crazy, on all different types of topics and all different types of things. But we haven't taught a masterclass in a long time, like well over a year. And so this is a brand new class. We have a lot to share, a lot to say. We're really
a lot of new perspective.
Yeah, like new perspective, new things, a different kind of vibe. We're really excited about it. And so it's geared towards people who are thinking about traveling, but they're not really sure if it's right for them or not, or people who know they want to travel, but just haven't taken the leap yet for whatever reason. And even if you're newer to travel, you're already traveling, or even if you've been traveling for longer, but you just want some like fresh perspective and some inspiration, that is really what this masterclass will be. It's like inspiration with really clear, tangible takeaways that you can apply to your travel journey no matter where you are on your path. So if you want to join us, it's going to be this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. There will be a replay that we'll send out the next day that will be available for a temporary amount of time that you'll be able to watch. So if you want to join us, there'll be a link in the show notes. Just scroll down, click the link, put in your name and email, and then that will, you'll receive an email from us with all the details. So I hope we get to see you inside of the masterclass. We're really excited to do this bad boy.
I will say, since podcasts live forever, this Thursday means 7/11/2024.
Thanks, Sugar Bag.
You're welcome. We'll see you there.
Flight crew, please prepare for departure.
So I'd like to also start this episode by, this is your first Monday home since you finished your contract, which feels so weird because usually Monday mornings is like, we wake up, I take Aaron to work, we leave the house at 6:40, I drop him off, I come back home, start my day, do all the things, you're at work all day, then you go to Orange Theory, come home, like it's a jam-packed day.
Well, and a lot of times if we haven't actually, prepared ourselves, we're doing the podcast as well at night on top of all of that. And so this actually feels weird. I've noticed I've felt funny all day, and it's because to me it feels like a Sunday.
Yeah.
Like it's very bizarre still because I've been in this contract since October, and this is one of the longest contracts I've ever taken. Even though we had time off, we've still come back to the same place, got in the same routine like immediately. And so like, to me, this is Sunday routine.
Yeah, it feels like that.
And like, I feel it's almost like a weird frustration. Like I'm not sure like what's going on, like why. I mean, I've been all over the place today, and I guess that's just par for the course.
Yeah, you got to get used to it.
Because it's like, oh, we got to do our podcast, and like, oh, here and this and that, and like trying to do things individually.
It's going to take a transition of us being together. Like, I'm used to being all by myself all day, which I prefer. Love you. But, like, I just have a workflow by myself. And so coming together and transitioning into that. And you're used to being at work all day, every day. So you got to figure out your flow, But it was like this morning we got up and we went to Orange Theory first thing, which was so nice because, like, working a 10-hour shift and then gearing up to go to Orange Theory freaking sucks. Like, you're like gassed at the end of the day, and then you have to go, like, Orange Theory is not an easy workout. You're not coasting your way through that. It's hard.
No, and I think that's what's happening is like, I don't know. I would argue that I was already in it, and usually like Mondays and Tuesdays were my days that I go to Orange Theory during the week, and like we're busy. So I'm like on my feet all day, go, go, go. So then you just stay in that. And then by the time I come home, it's 2 hours past and I'm ready for bed. Like I'm zonked, right? So that actually worked out better instead of feeling the Orange Theory effect currently.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m. Like I'm already ready to crawl into bed.
I'm so ready for bed. Like, so we got home from Orange Theory and then we went over the masterclass, which is really fun. We printed it out. We went over it together. We took some things out, added some things, like just spent some time with that. So that was like a couple of hours. And did some other stuff, had lunch, and now I'm like, I could literally lay down and close my eyes and go to sleep. It's 3:00, but I don't want to take a nap because, A, I don't really take naps. B, I don't want to be up, but I feel tired. And I think it's just, I don't know. We'll just have to get used to being together. We've already had like 4 fights today. I think it's just it's a little bit clunky until we figure it out.
Totally.
But I mean, figure it out. We're only here for a couple of weeks and then we go to Florida and then we're like off to the races. We'll be gone for a few months.
Which adds the pressure, right?
So anywho, that is kind of
what's going on.
An update.
I will say too real quick, I think this is going to be a longer Traveler Quick Tip Tuesday. This might be a Traveler Long Tip Tuesday. Just so you know. Yeah.
Because so the idea of this episode was kind of spun from not only the masterclass and kind of what we're focusing on in that, but also I was writing out this post and I was like writing about how long I've been a stenographer. And I wrote 17 years. And it like took me back for a minute because I'm like, how is that possible? Granted, like I went into ultrasound school directly out of high school. I was 18. So like I was a stenographer working at 21, first year out, right? 21. So like crazy, but 17 years, like, whew,
Well, I mean, I hit my 20-year mark.
Were you? I thought we were the same.
No, I had been working 2 years as a technologist before
X-ray.
you even, yeah.
Okay.
So I had 2 years on you.
It's so crazy. It's like people retire, right? After 20 years. Is that even a thing anymore? Do people like retire still?
I don't think they
I mean,
put
after
in 20 years.
yeah.
I mean, after 20 years, you're vested, I guess they say, like in the company, if they have like a retirement plan. Because I know like my first hospital, I was already 7 years working in radiology. So if I would have just stayed, 20 years at that hospital, then I'm in for their retirement.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Also, side note, if you hear a little puggy snoring, she is on her bed.
It's not me or Kim.
Passed out. Like, I'm so jealous. And it's like cold in here and she's on her little blanket just sleeping like a freaking angelic pug that she is.
Yeah, and she's deaf, so she can't hear any of this.
No,
so she's just...
Yeah.
I mean, we literally walked in from Orange Theory. She was on her bed, and it took 15 minutes before she even realized we were home.
I know. And we try to be like, Mimi, to like wake her up if she's being too loud. She doesn't hear us. So at this point, it's just background noise.
Some good sleep, dude.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm thinking, okay, I've been a stenographer for 17 years. And it took me back to when we were working full-time. Because we both worked full-time in our full-time jobs for about 5 years before we started traveling. And I can't imagine being a stenographer for 17 years as like a full-time stenographer. Like I don't think I wouldn't have done it. I don't think I would have survived it.
I get the point of this conversation.
Let me tell you why.
Go ahead. I just thought of like something, but
go ahead.
No, I was just saying like, I get the point of what you're saying, but I also believe that like on a deeper level, there's no way in God's green earth, even if like traveling would have never come about, I feel like you would have rather gone to like Starbucks and been a barista than like working in ultrasound. You would have found something else.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. 100% I wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I agree, I would have been the same.
No, because I feel like when I was working full time, I was so drained and burnt out and just so like disinterested with with my work life. You know, like it felt like I was just working my ass off to pay my bills, right? We got to pay bills. We got to work to like pay our bills, like, and to live. But it felt like I was only working for that. Like there was no steps in any direction, like moving us forward to our goals, moving us forward to any dreams that we had, our travels we wanted to do, or savings or anything. It was just kind of like, I felt like I was always trying to keep my head above water with a job that I did not like, had no real like passion or excitement towards, and that I was doing it every single day just to make ends meet. It didn't feel like it was gaining anything. And it was like, and there was no end in sight. There was never like oh, I'm doing this until then, and then we're going here, we're doing this. Like we never really had PTO. We didn't really have a lot of money to take off anyways. And so it just felt like this dead end grind that I felt, and I've said this a million times, it just like my soul was like crying every day, you know?
Well, it felt like quicksand to me. I mean, if you can just picture quicksand. I mean, it's like, while you're talking, I actually have, not sympathy is the word, compassion, and a lack of understanding of how people can function in their everyday life, get the things that they need to get done just to live, and enjoy themselves while working full time.
No,
like you can't do all of that in 2 days, and then you have to decide, I'm going to do 1 week of like maybe household stuff, like just to have the time off for 1 week to like get stuff done around the house that you've been wanting to do project wise, like, or go and see family, or like something's got to give, right? And
or have kids.
I mean,
Holy
God, you
shit,
throw
dude.
kids into the mix and like their birthday parties and all the things that sports, and I don't understand how it works, and I can't tell if you work 7 to 3, maybe it's a little easier, but like my job in particular, comes with a lot of call. And like you're on call 1 day, 2 days a week, plus every other weekend, every third weekend. So those are, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just don't understand how it even works.
I think here's my take on it too, is that our jobs in the hospital are very demanding, and they're draining. Like we have full, like everywhere I've worked, right? As I've been a traveler for 13 years, like everywhere you've worked, we're busy, right? Like you are busy, you are busting out patients, you are running around, you are doing portables. Like it's nonstop. You have hard cases, hard patients. Like you're always dealing with stuff, right?
Not to mention the emotional drain of being with people on their like sickest day.
Oh my God,
/ what they're going through / the family / I mean, nobody wants to be there, and you have to be there.
Right. It's physically, emotionally, spiritually, it's a draining job. I think all healthcare is. It's a lot. It's a lot for you to show up and take care of other people, and then you come home and you're exhausted, and then you have a whole nother life that you need to show up for. So that being said, though, I do feel like there's an added thing, because yes, our job's draining and taxing, and it's a lot of energy going out every day to other people, right? But there's a whole nother level, I think, when you don't enjoy the work you're doing. Because, for instance, right, I've been working in Travsessed full-time for like a year. And you know, like you've been working full time, but there's been plenty of weekends because you work full time in the hospital, but then on the weekend you're working full time in Travsessed. Like, so you know, there's days that we're spending, 10 hours a day just in a grind, in a focus, like not even like really looking up, just kind of staying in it. And we're not, out on a Saturday hiking or whatever. We're like behind our computers, and that, say it's a 10-hour day. We've done that many, many times. You work a 10-hour day in the hospital. But because I love so much what I'm doing inside of Travsessed, it like gives me energy. And that doesn't mean at the end of the day, like you would come home from work and I'm like, I'm so freaking tired. I'm seeing spots. I don't want to think anymore. I don't want to talk. It's still like you get pooped, like anything you do when you're using your brain and all that stuff all day and focusing on something. But it still is different. It's still like, it's a different feeling that you feel when you come home from a shift in the hospital. And I think it's because we love what we do inside of Travsessed, and our hospital jobs have always just been a means to an end. Like there wasn't like, this is my dream job. It was just kind of like, oh, this works. It allows us to do X, Y, and Z. So I wonder though, if people who like love being a sonographer, or love being a nurse, or love being an IR tech, like, yeah, they're tired, but do they feel that same like soul crushing feeling that we feel clocking in and out of a hospital? Like I wonder what that looks like for someone who's just okay with being a full-time healthcare worker.
I mean, look at Devin, Nick, and Conrad.
They love their jobs.
It doesn't matter how long they work. They pick up double shifts.
I know. We're talking about The Resident, by the way. I love that show. We just got back into it. It's so good. Like, why do we ever stop?
Yeah.
But yeah, they love... Okay, it's a TV show. But yes, there are people who love their jobs. And I think that's so amazing, which kind of goes into like, amazing, because we need those people, right? That love their jobs, that aren't leaving, that want to like show up every day, and they're just happy to be in that every day because they love what they do, they love their settled, they love their life and all the things. And we have to have people like that. That leaves space for people like you and I who aren't wired that way, right? So it's like we have to have a mix of both.
Totally.
But I do think there is a difference between like I just wonder in Florida, because I just remember you and I so burnt out and so over it, and sitting outside and just being like, what can we do? And like, there's got to be a different way. And like, what else can we do? Because not only did we want more money, right? Because we didn't have very much. We wanted more time, but we also wanted to enjoy our work. And I wonder if we would have felt that same way if we would have enjoyed our jobs. We probably would have been like, yeah, I'd like to make more money and we'll get there, you know, but would we have felt as just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm freaking miserable with my work life.
I mean, I don't know. I think that just comes down to a wiring, right? There are people that are meant to do certain things. And like you said, I think you hit it. Like, I never once in my childhood said I wanted to be anything in healthcare, right?
No,
like
same.
ever. Like
No.
I never even wanted to go into a hospital. And it's kind of funny because everything I described as a kid had nothing to do with me choosing a job that is open 365 days, 24 hours a day, to which the field I pick needs coverage the entire time. Like, it's freaking silly, dude, because I've never been that type of person. I've also never been the type of person, like, I used to get pissed off at school because they had a set lunch period. Like, I didn't want to go back to class after why am I only here for 30 minutes trying to scarf down food and then get a 5-minute break to walk outside or do something? Like, I hated that from the beginning. And so, like, the regiment of the hospital, not to mention the bureaucracy and the politics that goes on, was never aligned with what I wanted to do. So I think it's deeper with the wiring, right? There are people that are like, I was born to be a nurse.
Yeah.
Right? And like, again, you already said it. Thank God there are people like that, because they allow me to be me and they can be them, and we all coexist and we can all do our stuff. But I think down to it, like, you know, sitting out on the back, we've talked about it multiple times, and throughout probably every podcast we've hinted around with it. I don't know why every time we do a podcast you also like to pick your nose.
Stop, don't call me out. My nose itches.
It's distracting, and I don't understand why it only itches during podcasts.
No, I'm always itching. You're not looking directly at me.
Okay. Anyway, but like, we would sit outside and we were laughing when we do watch shows, because there's like PAs and nurse practitioners and there's perfusionists, and I'm like, wow, I was going to be all of them. And then there's sales reps, and I was going to do that. And like, the whole time, then we started getting really clear about like, what is it that we're searching for? So instead of actually trying to pick a profession, I mean, this is talking, Kim and I are 3-4 years into our careers. Like, I was the lead of the department, like going through management and leadership courses, like being prepped to like climb the ladder, right? So this wasn't like, oh, day one, like as a student. You know,
Well,
it's
I
like,
dropped out of ultrasound school as a student
No,
because
well-
I knew I wasn't supposed to be there.
well,
No, that's kind of telling if you think about it.
totally, and it drew you back in, and here we are, right?
Thank God,
so,
yeah.
Exactly. So it's all full circle. So I get why we did this, which I think we hopefully will get into in this podcast. We were saying leveraging, but I think we're building up.
I'm building up to something.
Okay, good. I am too. So like,
God.
I think instead of being like, you should go back to school and be a writer, like, you know, it was like, I should be a perfusionist, or that would move to Chicago and go through school, PA school, like, should do that. But it was like, we said, screw the trying to figure out what we're doing. Let's just figure out what we want. And I think that was the most clarity ever. And it was like, we wanted to, you know, work from anywhere in the world. We wanted to have freedom and be able to control how we spend our time. What we put into it, we get out of. So the whole thing with like me taking call, I still get paid my call pay, no matter, you know, yeah, you get some if you work more hours, but I mean, that comes at a fraction of your own like mental capacity and tiredness to then have to work the rest of the week. So never wanted to do that. We wanted to work together, and we wanted to be able to be creative.
Yeah.
And so we came up with those 5 things and let it rip. And we're just like, okay, let's just let it go, because trying to actually pinpoint something we could do is not working.
Well, and to make an impact in other people's lives, and to be able to work with people, you know. And so, right, that was kind of our like entrepreneurial journey, but the traveling was the first step, right? And like, I feel like feeling so, sitting on that back porch and just feeling like, what are we gonna do, man? Like, something's gotta change, you know, like this can't be it. And finding out about traveling completely, I felt like it was like our prayers getting answered. And what are you doing? Because you're distracting me by looking at your phone. What's going on?
I don't know if it's a scam or whatever, but it's a lawyer talking about our trademark and that they haven't got a response from us. Something. So anyway.
Okay. But I felt like it was our prayers getting answered, because that was like the first step that we were able to step into this whole nother way of living and earning and working in our current careers, that I felt like, because again, like we've told this story in full depth on like one of our first couple episodes, but you know, from the time that we found out about traveling to the time that we were pulling out of Florida with all of our stuff was like a few months. It really wasn't that long, because we had to sell our house. Like if we didn't have a house, we probably would have left the next week, to be honest. But we, you know, quit our jobs and left. And that was like the beginning of this new journey and this new adventure that opened up so much in our lives that it like renewed my excitement for the job that I had, because I got to do it differently. Like I was like, cool, I'm here for 3 months. Like I'm going to show up 3 to 6 months. We always usually extended our contracts at least once, most of the time. But it was like, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to like really be the best that I can be. I'm going to show up for these people. Like, what can I learn here? We're in a new environment. Like we're in a new part of the country. We're exploring. Like I thought it was so fun. So going from like a job that I felt like was draining my soul, even though it's not like I love ultrasound so much, like it just renewed a sense of excitement and purpose in the current job that I had. And it completely shifted and changed everything for us.
Well, and I got to say, like, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was hoping you were going to say that, because that's like where I wanted to go too, that for many years we just started traveling. Traveling was it, right? Like, it wasn't until 2017 that we started like talking about a business, like going after one, right? Like creating something on our own, because we got to do so many cool things, learn so many cool things. Like I got to build a program from scratch. Like that was so much fun. Like I was in it. Like I really enjoyed that every single day. Like I was working volunteer hours, not even on the clock, just like going into like, because I liked that project, and I was like, man, could I actually do this all the time? Like, could this be my thing? I was making great money.
We loved living in the Bay Area.
Loved living in the Bay Area. Kim and I were exploring all the time and going out and hiking and wine country and down to the beach and like running races and all sorts of things, going to Giants games. Like, I mean,
that was fun.
Eating a bunch of good food and like exploring our foodie side. That's what, like, when it came out, like, it was just, that time was like absolutely amazing. And that was all through working in the hospital. And so it did rejuvenate a hidden kind of love, because it basically, I mean, you were like skating at the top of your game with all of them, doing transplants, doing like all sorts of stuff. You were learning so much and like actually excited about what you were learning. Yep. So I think that's a little bit of it too, is like when you get into this full-time rigmarole, you're trapped within those walls. So you only get what those walls allow you to get, right? And a lot of times it's based off of, especially in radiology, like what the radiologists specialize in and what they want to call out to the community, and like what other doctors are specialized in. Those are the cases that you get. And so like, you know, even in IR, like bouncing around out of the first facility I was at, like doing Y90s, doing cancer treatments, doing like all this stuff was new to me. And so it was like holding my attention for a long time.
100%. So I think like you're really distracting me with your phone.
I need it to stop.
Can you turn it over?
It is, but I had to stop the text from going because it's just going to keep repeating itself.
No, I forgot what I was going to say.
Rejuvenating. I was like saying through
travel. I think, and we're going to talk a lot about this kind of stuff in the masterclass. So make sure you join. There's a link in the show notes. You can join. It's completely free. Show up. It's going to be just fun. And we're going to get more into it. But yeah, I think traveling completely changed just our whole dynamic with our work, how we were earning, you know, how we were living, where we were living, all the things that we were doing. And I felt like it really, quote unquote, saved us. And it opened up so many doors for us that we didn't even know we were looking for when we decided to leave. And, you know, not only like all the cool stuff that we were doing, but like the fact that, you know, we were able to save $60,000, okay, in 10 months. $60,000. That's a lot of money. And when we were working full time, do you even remember this? How like we really wanted to go to San Francisco? Yes. And I had it on our vision board. And I remember us, like, we said that we were going to save like $100 a paycheck to go towards that trip. And I remember that because that was something that was so important to me. And then like, it would come, and then for some reason we would have to like take some of the money back. Like we would put money in savings, we'd have to take it back. We'd put money in savings, it never stayed, it never grew. And it would have taken us, I don't even know, years to save enough money to go on a trip. Like years, right? So many years, where in 10 months we saved 60 grand. Like I can't even fathom that. Like we didn't even make that, both of us working in an entire year earning, let alone that was saving, which meant it was extra money. So it's like that like completely blew my mind of like, this is insane. This is like, anything is possible. Like if you can make that kind of money, that like changed our life, you know?
Totally. Well, I think, and that's why I brought up the 5 things, is because traveling was an easy yes, because it allowed us to work less, make more, have more time to spend on creative ideas. Like technically what we put into it, we get out of. We got to travel around the world. We got to take as much time off as we wanted. We got to explore other passions. We got to meet new people that opened up our horizons to like what is even possible. You know, I always talk about the tree thing, and like it let us see more branches of like, how are people doing things in the world? Like we met gym owners, we met entrepreneurs, we met restaurant people, we met all sorts of, I mean, we learned what dim sum was and what, you know, all these things that we never even knew existed in Florida.
We started loving like hiking and being in the mountains. I don't think I've ever been on a hike in my life before we started traveling. Like, we grew up in Florida. Like,
right.
I've never been on a hike in my life. And now it's like we plan trips all over the world for Travsessed adventures, and we're hiking. Like that wasn't even a thing. And like I think we went on our first hike when we were living in the Bay Area. And Or we're like, cool, like let's go for a hike because this is what like the cool
Was
people
it?
do. It had to have been.
Was it New Year's Eve or New Year's
No, I don't
Day?
think that was our first ever hike, but the Mount Tam, that wasn't our first ever hike. But the first hike that we ever did had to have been in that area because that was the first place that we lived that had mountains.
Holy crap, I never...
Yeah, and I feel like we were like,
Well, yeah,
cool, like
because
let's try this hiking thing.
In Georgia, we never did...
Oh, we did hike at Stone Mountain. But that's like, I mean, that's like a carnival. Like, it's not even, you know what I mean?
It's not a carnival.
Not a carnival, but it's like a theme park. Like, it doesn't feel like a real hike. So it's crazy to think about, right? Like, I was almost 30 years old, had never been on a hike. We went, so I'm going to say California because I'm almost positive that's where our first hike was. I wish I could remember. But then obviously falling in love with like the outdoor adventure side of things. And then now that's such a huge part of our life and even our business because that's where majority of our trips are hiking based, which is so funny how that happened, right?
That's
Traveling opened
interesting.
us up to a whole nother like hobby that we deeply enjoy. We want to move to Colorado because we love the mountains, and one of the best ways that we like to spend our day is getting out and going for a hike and then going and having a fun lunch afterwards. Like we want to move somewhere specifically to hike.
It's true.
Like what the hell, right?
It's true.
So I think we say all of it to say that traveling has such power to change your life, especially if you're someone who's looking for a change. Like maybe you're feeling like how we felt when we were working full time of just like, I'm freaking over it, dude. Like it's just the same thing every day. I just kind of feel like I'm on this like hamster wheel, and like I need a change. I need to switch it up.
Underappreciated.
Yeah, just like needing something different. And I keep forgetting what I'm going to say. Oh, and so if you need a change. oh yeah.
Rewind.
That traveling can help you, whether it's you're looking for a change or you have some specific goals, whether that's paying off, your mortgage or student loans, or taking 6 months off to go travel the world, something you never could do working full time, or saving money or buying a van, like whatever it is, like doesn't matter. Traveling will help you get there faster. And I feel like that is it's just like such a gift that we're given for people who work in healthcare, right? Like it's such a gift that we're given as an opportunity. And if you do have the opportunity, because I know everybody has different lives and things, and it's not possible for everybody right now, but if it is possible for you, I just feel like every single person should travel. And even if you don't have to travel for 13 years like us, even if it's just for a couple of years, to help you reach whatever goals you have faster. Even maybe your goals are just like, I want to go to Seattle. I want to live in, San Francisco. I want to go to Alaska, Hawaii, wherever. Like, I want to live in these cool places, and you want to end up going back home at some point. Like, use travel to create that life for yourself. It's an incredible opportunity.
No, and totally. And I think there was two things that I wanted to say based on, I just had this huge
My throat hurts.
mind. Okay, well then you don't have to talk. Let me
I
talk.
had a sip of tea.
Okay. Oh God. So you had to throw that in, didn't you? Was that your time you were waiting?
No.
Like you got it
No,
in?
that just came out naturally.
Okay. But they
I got in trouble, by the way.
yeah, we got into a little tiff over tea.
Drinking tea.
Yeah. Anyway. And I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no. What I was going to say was, even if you take an evaluation of where you're at now as a full-time healthcare worker, and your job is feeling monotonous and you don't feel like you're getting what you need, even if you don't want to be as crazy as Kim and I and only work half a year and travel the world or create a business or get out of healthcare, whatever it is, the fact that you can go to different facilities, and there are facilities I've stayed, like you said, longer than 6 months, that held my attention, that I liked the cases we did. I liked the people I worked with. I liked the management system. I liked the way it was run. There's facilities are so different in the way that they're operated, the location that they're in, the places to go eat lunch. Like, there's just little things you can find joy, and you can find those places. I mean, shit, dude, Stanford Children's every summer had like bands out in the Hall & Oates pavilion so that you could grab your lunch, go sit there and listen to an artist play.
That's cool.
Like, it's just little things like that was enjoyable. We also got like 45-minute lunches, like hour lunches, like, so like there's just different ways that different facilities run things, and like you could find your dream facility and end up riding out your career at that place.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Did you have more to say?
Lastly, just like hear me out on this one, because it's like I just thought of this, but you said everybody should travel
if they can.
And what else did you say? That like you're able to reach your goals faster. And when you said that, I was thinking to myself, when we had our like fitness business, one of the things that I didn't like that I could see happening was we learned that in order to like lose weight properly and to gain a healthy lifestyle, you really distracted me on your phone. Can you put it down or flip it over or turn it off? Or
I just had an idea for the title of this podcast. Okay. I didn't want to forget it.
Like when we were in that personal training business, fitness business, like we learned that actually losing weight and living a healthy lifestyle takes time, right? If you want to do it right. And the majority of people don't want to say, oh, in order to reach your goals, it's going to be a year. Like they're like, fuck that. I want it like 2 weeks, right? We live in a world of like instant gratification. I want to speed things along. It doesn't mean I want to do things right. But like, honestly, that's why I don't understand why more people aren't traveling, because you can reach your goals faster. And it is instant gratification, and you get to have fun along the way, and like only spend 3 months at a facility. If you don't like it, you're gone. Like no strings attached. Like it is literally the American way, right? So like,
yeah, like it's almost like a shortcut, if you will.
Right, which is what
it's like
we are all about. Ozempic about. I mean, garage door openers, like we used to have to open the garage door. Now
that's weird to think
you just
about.
Hit a button and like you don't even have to get out of your car, right? Like we have developed things. They used to walk on golf courses. Now there's golf carts. Like there's so many things that has sped things up so much. Computers and emails and like waiting for mail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like watching Peaky Blinders. Like they'd have to they'd go off and then it would take months for them to get word back, right? Like things have changed. So like, it is a speed up.
You're talking about a TV show. You can't just say Peaky Blinders and blah, blah. Like, if you're going to say, you have to put some context around it. Because, like...
It's a TV show based in the 20s.
Yeah, like, but just say it's a TV show.
Got it, sorry.
Like, what the heck are you talking about? Freaking Peaky Blinders.
Most people know what Peaky Blinders is.
Okay.
But anyway, what I'm saying is, like, in a world of, like, speed, and that's what everybody wants, is a quick fix, traveling is that.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, that's the perfect place to end. I'm literally falling asleep as I'm talking.
Is it that boring?
It's riveting.
Oh,
sorry. We've woken up the pug. I love that she's turned her back towards us.
Yeah, and then does...
and she's like rolling her eyes while she's looking at us right now. Okay. No, I think I think we have so much to talk about on this, which is what we're getting into in the masterclass more. And so I think just leaving it like, if you're listening to this and any of this is like resonating with you, or it's Tuesday and you're on your lunch break or you're at work and you're like, dude, yeah, like I'm just like needing something different. I just want something different. I think the first step I would be like,
go quit.
Well, yeah. Maybe first though, before you do that, write down like, what are your goals? Like, what are you wanting to achieve? And what could you use travel, even if you are currently traveling and maybe you haven't even like looked at it from that perspective, but like really getting clear of what could I use travel for, right? As an opportunity to hit X, Y, and Z way faster. And like, what is my plan to execute on that? So whatever that is, write it out and get a plan, and then really look at the next year of like, okay, this is my goal, this is my plan, this is what I'm going to do to move forward to like bring that goal to life in a year as opposed to 15 years, you know? I think that's like a really cool exercise. And so do that. And then number 2, sign up for the masterclass coming out with us on Thursday. And I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say?
No, that's it.
We're going to, if you like this, if you like the vibe of this is going to be the vibe of the class. Well, like not creepy like this, but just like the energy, what we're going to be talking about.
I do got to say, I really like what you just said about getting clear, and then the speed thing needs to be added to the masterclass.
You're good. Yeah.
It's good.
I thought so.
We can elaborate a little more.
Okay. Love this.
All right, cool.
All right, guys. Have an awesome Tuesday, and we will see you this Thursday inside of the masterclass.